I think I know exactly how Rick and Morty Season 9 is going to end. And if I'm right, this could become one of the most emotional finales in the entire series. My prediction? Morty is going to fake his own death. And it could completely change his relationship with Rick forever. Greetings, fellow theorists. Welcome back to another video. If you're as obsessed with Rick and Morty as I am, you're going to love this one because today we're breaking down every clue we have about the Season 9 finale, Episode 10, Field of Dreams. Huge spoiler warning if you haven't watched Season 9 yet. Stop this video right now, go catch up, then come back because we're diving deep into finale territory. The title immediately caught my attention. It's clearly a reference to the 1989 movie, Field of Dreams, but I don't think the writers chose that name randomly. In the film, Ray Kinsella hears a mysterious voice telling him to build a baseball field in the middle of his cornfield. Everyone thinks he's crazy, but he risks everything because deep down he's terrified of living a life full of regret like his father did. At its core, Field of Dreams isn't really about baseball. It's about family. It's about regret. It's about healing broken relationships. And I think those exact themes are about to collide with Rick and Morty. Throughout the series, Morty has slowly become more independent. He's smarter. He's more confident. And after everything that's happened with Rick Prime, Morty has started questioning whether Rick is actually good for him. What if Morty's greatest fear isn't dying? What if it's spending his entire life following Rick and never discovering who he could become on his own? We even saw in the Fear Hole episode, his greatest fear is relying on Rick, and when he realized that Rick didn't jump into the Fear Hole with him, he freaked out. So, what if this is a step up from his character, considering he conquered that fear? Then there's the episode description. The official description simply says Tom Sawyer. That seems incredibly random, until you remember the story. In the adventures of Tom Sawyer, Tom becomes heartbroken after a fight and decides to run away with Huck Finn and Joe Harper. Everyone back home believes they're dead. The town even holds a funeral. Then, in one of the most famous scenes in literature, the boys dramatically walk into their own funeral alive. Now, here's where things get interesting. We've already seen official storyboard images showing Morty at a funeral. Specifically, his funeral. That can't be a coincidence. Now let's talk about the most recent episode, Requiem, Mort, a Dream. In the latest episode, Rick looks completely fed up with Morty. Then he drops one of the harshest lines he's ever said.
I don't know. When I found you, you were bait. When I killed that fish, maybe I should have cut the line, because all I have now is a fucking worm. You told me that wasn't true. You're just trying to hurt me.
Wow, that line is brutal. Of course, in the episode, Rick doesn't actually mean it. Rick has always lashed out when he's angry, scared, or hurting. We've seen him say terrible things before that don't reflect how he truly feels. But imagine hearing those words if you're Morty. After everything you've done for Rick, after helping him kill Rick Prime, after risking your life over and over, that would absolutely destroy you. Here's where my theory begins. I think Rick says something so unbelievably hurtful that Morty finally snaps. Not like Evil Morty, not out of revenge, out of heartbreak. Morty decides to disappear. He fakes his own death. Everyone believes he's gone. Beth, Rick, Space Beth, Summer, Jerry, everyone. And for the first time in his life, Morty lives completely without Rick. Think back to another one of the most recent episodes, Mort Gully, The Last Rick Forest. That episode wasn't just about plants, it was showing us something much bigger. Morty literally flourished without Rick. He became stronger, more capable, more independent. The episode almost felt like it was asking one question. Who is Morty when Rick isn't around? I think the finale is finally going to answer that. Here's another possibility. What if Morty doesn't just run away? What if he escapes to a universe where Rick never entered his life? There's an official promotional image on the Warner Brothers website showing Morty sharing what looks like a genuine bonding moment with Jerry. That's unusual. We've rarely seen Morty connect with his dad like that. Maybe living in another reality shows Morty something he's never really had: a normal family, a father who's actually present, a life without endless adventures. And maybe that's what ultimately convinces him to return home. Better yet, to make things more interesting, what if this dimension Morty enters, without a Rick in it, happens to be Evil Morty's dimension, and he sees the pain that a version of Morty inflicted on his family by leaving them and being independent, and this is what ultimately convinces Morty to return home. Imagine this. Rick attends Morty's funeral, believing he's truly gone. For maybe the first time, Rick is forced to face what life looks like without Morty. No adventures, no partner, no grandson, just regret. You would think Rick would have actually replaced him, but no! He's deeply hurt. He has grown to love this Morty, and he shows it, regardless if it's Prime's grandson or not. Then, just like Tom Sawyer, Morty walks back into his own funeral, alive, but changed, more mature, more independent, not the same kid who left. The Smith family realizes how much they truly love him. Rick finally realizes just how important Morty has become to him, and Season 9 ends on one of the most emotional moments the show has ever done. This could even parallel Rick leaving Morty in Season 5, Episode 9 for the Crows, but in reverse. This time Morty is the one who would abandon Rick. What if it shows us that Mortys leave the realities to find themselves whenever they feel lesser? Every Morty starts from the same emotional foundation. Maybe our Morty is walking down a similar road as Evil Morty. The difference is that he'll choose family instead of isolation, unlike Evil Morty, who's distanced himself from everyone. That would create an amazing parallel between the two characters and an amazing storyline for the end of Season 9. Not only would we get to see an independent Morty, a Morty who is fed up with Rick, but we would get to see what happened to the Evil Morty Smith family and how his departure affected them deeply. And how, without Rick being in their lives, we can see how they have grown to their full potential. I feel like this would be an absolutely genius idea for the end of the season, as Season 9 would start with Evil Morty and end with Prime Morty and how Evil Morty affected his family. So, that's my prediction. I believe Field of Dreams is secretly adapting the emotional core of both Field of Dreams and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer into one story. A broken relationship, a fake death, a funeral, a family forced to confront what they've lost, and a Morty who finally discovers who he is without Rick. Whether I'm completely right or completely wrong, I have a feeling this finale is going to be one we won't forget. If you enjoyed this theory, hit that like button, subscribe for more Rick and Morty theories, and let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.